Are the Dolphins going back on HBO Hard Knocks? And what will the Miami Dolphins do with pick number 13 in round one? We talk about it all on today's show. Let's get after it. You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Good evening, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Sunday, April the 6th. I'm your host, Mike Oliva, flying solo tonight, as we have a lot to talk about in the world of the Miami Dolphins, as we are only a few weeks away from the NFL draft. There's a rumor about the Dolphins going on Hard Knocks. And of course, when you talk about the Dolphins, you must talk about the quarterback position. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what quarterback has piqued my interest in this year's draft. That if Miami takes one, he's the one I hope they take. But before we get to any of that, let's get into some of the business and get that out of the way. If you're watching this on YouTube, first off, thank you. Please be sure to smash that like button and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you put up a comment, I will do my best to respond to it. But smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube. It always helps us out in the algorithm. Also want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's show, Caneswear. Everyone go to the website caneswear.com for the very best Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. If you need a hat, a jersey, a t-shirt, a polo, a hoodie, a coat, anything with the Miami Dolphins logo on it, caneswear.com is the website you want to go to. They have the best Dolphins apparel and the most affordable Dolphins apparel, and they got you covered. They also have stuff, obviously, for the Miami Hurricanes. They have you covered for the Miami Heat, Florida Panthers, Miami Marlins, Florida Gators, Florida State. They got some stuff even in there for. But caneswear.com, if you're a fan of the Dolphins and you're looking for a gift or you just want to treat yourself for something with the Miami Dolphins logo on it, go to the website caneswear.com. Dolphins Talk Extra. I spoke about this on a podcast last night. We just announced it. Go to patreon.com/Dolphins Talk, $3 a month. And on Friday night, April 18th at 8 p.m., we're doing an interactive mock draft. But you have to be a Dolphins Talk Extra subscriber. So sign up, go to patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. It's literally only $3 a month. You get access to a private message board. You get access to bonus podcasts about the Dolphins, some not about the Dolphins. You get access to all of our contests. You're automatically entered into them to win, autographs, bobblehead dolls, really cool prizes. There's a lot of perks for being a Dolphins Talk Extra subscriber, and this is a new one. So what's going to happen is Friday night, April 18th, you have to sign up prior. And say we get 7, 8 people, 9 people, 10 people, how many people we get to sign up? Everyone is going to be assigned a couple teams. So you might, depending on how many people, you might have 2 teams or 3 teams. And we're going to do a mock draft. We're going to have some fun. We're all going to be on screen at the same time. We're all going to be on screen. And say I have pick number 1, I'll make the pick for the Titans. You might have pick number 2. You'll make the pick for the Browns, so on and so forth. And we'll probably each have 2 or 3 teams because I think from our rough estimate of how many people are going to sign up. So you're going to be making the pick. And who knows, you might get lucky and be the general manager for the Miami Dolphins and make the pick at 13 for them. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. But if you want to sign up for that, go to patreon.com/Dolphins Talk and sign up for that. All right, let's get to the Dolphins talk. I want to start with the draft here because right now it's Sunday night, April 6th, and it's going to be draft time before we know it. It's going to fly by these next 2 weeks or so in the blink of an eye, or 3 weeks, is it, I think. Either way, it's coming quick. And as we get closer, you look at the needs on the Dolphins, which we have spoken about on this show ad nauseum, in no special order: offensive line, defensive line, corner, safety, and I'm going to throw tight end in there, but that's probably that one is last on the list for sure. However you want to rank the other 4, go for it. And as we get closer and as we start to get more information, all the pro days are over. Will Johnson's going to have a private workout here in a week on April 14th to prove he's healthy and can go. So, hopefully he is, because if he's not, why would you hold that workout? That's kind of stupid. So he'll probably check all those boxes on that day. And if you're a fan of the Dolphins, we start to narrow this down. And, some of the positions in this draft are deep, some not so much. Some of the guys, I think, have very high ceilings, some not so much. And I think at some of the positions, you can wait. You don't have to take them at 13. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I have this narrowed down. Realistic. Obviously, if Abdul Carter falls to 13, the Dolphins are taking him. That's unrealistic. Obviously, if Cam Ward falls to 13, the Dolphins are taking him. That's unrealistic. Obviously, if Mason Graham falls to 13, the Dolphins are taking him. That's unrealistic. I'm going with the guys who have a realistic shot to fall to 13. Now, two of the names I mentioned, I don't think will be there, but they could. And there's been many mock drafts where they have fallen that far, but they're in the conversation at 13, so I have them included here in the 5 names. And once again, no special order. Here are the 5 names. If the Dolphins, when pick 13 is read by the commissioner, Roger Goodell, night 1 of the draft, and it's one of these 5 names, if you're a fan of the Dolphins, you won't be upset, because I think these 5 guys are that good. Once again, no special order. Will Johnson, cornerback, Michigan. We know number 1 corner in this class, and you put him opposite Ramsey, and I think we're going to be very good at cornerback this year. And if they want to move on from Ramsey after this year, like I spoke about on the show yesterday, probably happening, Will Johnson's your number 1 corner, and you have that, which is a crucial spot in this league, a pass-happy league, locked in. Jahdae Barron, cornerback, Texas. I don't think he's that far behind Will Johnson. In fact, the more I watch him, the more I like him. And I think he's in play at pick 13, because once again, if you put him opposite Ramsey this year, you're going to be great. And if Ramsey moves on next year, again, I think you'll be fine if he's your number 1 corner. He is that good. I like Will Johnson a little better, but it's really splitting hairs at this point. They're both very good cornerbacks who Miami would be very lucky. Number 3, Will Campbell, the offensive tackle / most people think he can play offensive guard. And I'm not big on guys who've never played guard before, but everything you read and hear about Campbell, he should be able to move there, even if it's only for a year or so, with no issues. A lot of people have him as the top offensive tackle in this draft. So if he falls to 13, I'm jumping on it, because A, Austin Jackson's always injured. B, we don't know about Patrick Paul. And C, he should have no issues transitioning to guard, even if it's short term, because I think if you can get the number 1 offensive tackle in the draft at 13, you just jump on it and you do it. And I just think he'll be fine in Miami. Same with the next one, Armand Membo. Once again, offensive tackle, but I think he's got the skill set to where he can translate to guard. I don't want Kelvin Banks. I don't want Josh Simmons. Those are the guys I don't think can translate to guard. But Campbell and Membo, I think, can. From all the research, from all the people I've spoken to, from things I've seen, from the smart people I've spoken to who do this stuff for a living, those 2 most likely will translate to guard, and you'll be fine. Now, those are 4 of the 5 names. Before I get to the 5th name, those 2 names I just mentioned, Will Campbell and Armand Membo, I don't think are going to be there at 13. I think they're going to go. I think they'll both be gone by pick 7 or 8. I think they're going to go flying off the boards. I think good chance the Patriots take one, good chance the Jets take one. And if one of them slides past that, they're not going to get much further. I think the Bears could take one. I think San Francisco could take one. I don't see them getting to 13. But there's been mock drafts. Again, mock drafts, take them for what they are, from very smart people who have one or the other falling to 13. So I think it's not impossible. We've seen things happen on draft night. If for some reason Jackson Dart goes in the top 10, someone's going to fall. And it might be one of these 2 guys. I think if either one of them are there at 13 and Miami takes them, if you're a fan of the Dolphins, you're not upset. The 5th name's a wild card. And that's Tyler Warren, the tight end of Penn State. I think, again, will he be there? Who the heck knows? I think this is in the neighborhood. He's going to go anywhere between 7 and 14. So there's a chance he'll be there at 13. He is just so stinking good at the tight end that if they took him, you'd be happy. I know they have Jonnu Smith, but this is the last year of his deal. He's not 30 yet, but he's about to be. And if, as I've said on the show last night, Miami's in a soft rebuild. If you draft Tyler Warren, there's no need to resign Jonnu Smith after this year. And Warren is your tight end one, and he might be your tight end one for 7, 8, 9 years. He's that good. So, and he can block, he can do it all. So to me, if you're a fan of the Dolphins, at pick 13, it is Will Johnson, Jahdae Barron, Will Campbell, Armand Membo, or Tyler Warren. You are very, very, very happy. And those are the 5 guys I have, in my opinion, earmarked that would be good picks for the Dolphins at pick 13. Now, I know some of you listening to this right now are probably shouting at your radio, shouting at your phone, or however you're listening to this podcast on whichever platform. Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle. We got to get a safety, Starks, this, that, and the other. Okay, let me explain. I am not taking one of these defensive tackles at pick 13. And there's 3 in play with Grant, Nolan, and Harmon. I think, first off, none of them are worthy of being picked at 13. I think they're good players, and I hope Miami gets one of them. And if they want to trade down from 13 to 22 and they can pick up some extra picks, and if they take one at 22, I am okay with that. But at 13, I just think it's too high. That's 1. 2, I think one of them might actually slip and they'll be there at pick 48. But I mean, I don't think you have to take one at 13. I think there's a chance one of those 3 will be there at pick 48. And if they're not, this is a deep defensive tackle class. Very, very deep. Alfred Collins from Texas probably will be there at pick 40. There's many others as well. And I think in this draft, it's so deep at defensive tackle that you don't have to reach for one at 13, because I think those other guys have higher ceilings. And they also, with the exception of Warren, play the premium position of cornerback or offensive tackle, even if you play them at guard for a year or 2. They're offensive tackles at the end of the day. And I would rather take someone there than reach for a defensive tackle at 13. Because 2 things about defensive tackles. Like I said, this draft class is very deep. Miami has picks at 98, 116, 135. If with those 3 picks, they just sit there and take 2 defensive tackles, they will be fine. Because in the NFL, defensive tackle is actually a position where rookies can get on the field rather quickly and contribute. At cornerback, it's tough. There's a big learning curve. Wide receiver, it's tough. There's a bit of a learning curve. Quarterback, it's tough. There's a bit of a learning curve. There's only a couple positions where rookies can get on the field right away and contribute. Defensive tackle's 1. Offensive guard is 1, where you regularly see guys picked in rounds 4, 5, and 6 play and contribute as rookies. So I think when you factor all this in, and we know Miami needs a few defensive linemen, not even just tackles. They also need a couple pure defensive ends, not necessarily edge rushers, but defensive ends like a Wilkins type, even if it's someone of that caliber per se. So I am comfortable waiting on a defensive tackle. Let's see who's there in round 2. Maybe one falls in your lap, and if not, round 3 and 4. Here's the deal: we got pick 98 in round 3. You got 2 picks in round 4, 2 picks in round 5. You will get multiple quality defensive tackles there and guys who I think can be part of a rotation as rookies if Miami plays their hand right. Again, it's Chris Greer. Not a lot of faith he'll play his hand right, but that's where I am, because I think at corner it is so tough to get quality corners. I want one early in this draft who I think can has a high ceiling and is very good. Offensive lineman as well. For guys like Campbell and Membo are so stinking good. I'm okay taking one there. If they don't take one of them there because they're gone, I don't want Kelvin Banks. Josh Simmons is someone else I don't want because I don't think he can move inside the guard. And I'm willing to wait there because we need guards more than tackles. We need guards. I think we can get an offensive guard in round 2 or round 3, and I think you'll get one who can contribute there and probably compete with Liam. So I'm okay with, not taking it if Campbell's off the board, Membo's off the board. I don't want to reach for an offensive lineman just for the sake of taking one. Those are really the only 2 I like in round 1 for Miami. That's me. Safety, I'm not taking a safety in round 1. Starks or Emanwari are 2 very good players. I just think cornerback is a bigger need than safety looking at Miami's roster. Now, look, if by some chance Johnson and Jahdae Barron are both gone by 13. I don't think they'll both be gone, but crazier things have happened. And they want to pivot to a safety. You could talk me into it. You could talk me into it. But again, safety's not a premium position. Cornerback is. And I think there's more value taking one of those other names at 13 than safety. And again, safety, you might be able to get a Xavier Watson round 2 or someone else in round 3 at safety who I think can, probably see the field relatively early. There's that. I'm just going to address this because I know someone's probably going to ask. If for some reason Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart falls and they're there at pick 13, two things. Number one, your phone's probably going to be ringing from a team who might want to move up to grab them. And if the offer's right, you take that deal and you slide down and you get hopefully extra picks in the early rounds of this draft. And who knows, you might even get an extra second next year. Or if some team might go nuts and even giving you first next year, I am jumping all over that. What I am not doing is I am not drafting Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart. I know, look, if you're listening to this podcast, you're a smart person. And again, as I said on the show last night, I will not lie to you. We are not like other podcasts who are here to pander to you, tell you what you want to hear for clicks and engagement. We are not bad faith actors, and we are not grifters. We know that Tua is not the long-term answer in Miami, but he's here this year. He's probably here next year, and then they're going to move on. In reality, unless he turns into Kenny Stabler overnight, which I'm not holding my breath. The Dolphins don't need to take Sanders or Dart this year at 13. I'm going to talk about the quarterback more at the end of the draft. At the end of this show about if we should even take a quarterback in this draft. So I'll talk about that later. But at pick 13, it just makes no sense. We have too many needs, and I don't think those guys. I think Sanders has a chance to be a good NFL quarterback. I'm not so sure on Dart, so just pass on that. Now, I released my mock draft 1.0 end of March, 2 weeks ago. And I just finished my mock draft 2.0, which I am going to drop on the website Monday morning. So if you're listening to this Sunday night, because you are one of the smart, beautiful podcast listeners here at DolphinsTalk.com, you're going to get a sneak preview of who I have Miami taking in my mock draft 2.0. If you're listening on Monday morning or Monday afternoon, it's probably already on the site, but I'm just going to give you my verbal rundown of why I have the picks going the way they do. So again, a little sneak peek if you're listening to this on Sunday evening. Okay, round one. Now in my first mock draft 1.0, I had Miami taking Will Johnson out of Michigan. And I just think once he has that private workout, I think a lot's going to change. And I think he's going to silence a lot of doubters, and he's going to, show why he is the best quarterback in this draft. And he'll probably, go before pick 13. So this mock draft 2.0, I have a change. I have Miami taking Jahdae Barron, the cornerback out of Texas. And I will admit, the more I do research on Jahdae Barron, the more I watch film on Jahdae Barron, the more I fall in love with Jahdae Barron. I think this guy would be perfect for Miami. Obviously, I'd rather have Will Johnson. He's my number one. I'd rather have number one than number two. But I think the gap between 1 and 2 isn't that big. And I think if Miami got Jahdae Barron, they'd be fine. There's a narrative out there that he is only a nickel corner. That is false. In 2023, he was a nickel corner for Texas, and probably the best one in the nation, as he was like unreal. Last year at Texas, he played on the boundary. Guess what? He was very, very good, if not unreal, playing on the boundary. And there's a lot of chatter that in time, not right away, his long-term future and best spot might be at safety. Jahdae Barron, you put him in Miami secondary, it solves a lot of problems. So I have him going round 1, pick 13. In the second round, I got him staying with the University of Texas, taking Alfred Collins, the defensive tackle. We know defensive line's a big need with the news that Campbell's not coming back. So the Dolphins have to do something here. Now, my first mock, I had them taking Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State, the guard. I don't think he's going to be there at 48. If he was, I would take Donovan Jackson because I think he's someone who's going to have like a long NFL career at guard. I just think he might go late round 1, or I think he'll go round 2 prior to 48. So I have Miami going with Alfred Collins, the defensive tackle from Texas, sort of. as they start to rebuild that defensive line. Round 3, pick 48, I got the Dolphins taking someone from the U, Jalen Rivers, who is an offensive tackle, but in the NFL, he's going to play guard. He's not an offensive tackle in the NFL because he doesn't have the foot speed for it. And plus, we know the Miami Dolphins, they, especially this crew of Mike McDaniel, Greer, they love taking offensive tackles, moving them to guard, taking offensive guards, moving them to center. So I think Jalen Rivers, who doesn't project as an NFL offensive tackle, but is a very good offensive lineman, they will move him to guard. And, he'll compete with Liam, in my world at least, for, for a spot to start at offensive guard. Maybe he wins it. Maybe he doesn't win it right away. But I think Jalen Rivers at pick 98 is kind of a steal in a lot of ways, as he's a good offensive lineman from the U, and I have him going to Miami at pick number 98. Pick 116, I have Miami taking a safety, Lathan Ransom out of Ohio State. Strong safety, plays aggressive. A smart guy. And if the Dolphins want to change the narrative that they're a soft team, guys like Lathan Ransom are kind of what you need. He is one of those guys who is very aggressive on the field. He's kind of a throwback in that, you can't get the penalties with this stuff anymore, but kind of a throwback in that if a wide receiver is going to go over the middle of the field, he better think twice if Lathan Ransom's out there, because he'll take his head off. Not literally, because he knows it's a penalty, obviously, but he just, he makes you think twice. So he's an old school throwback safety. And I think for what Miami has, which is a bunch of backups who are kind of athletic, they need someone who can, deliver a thump. And that's what Lathan Ransom is, someone like that. Round 4, pick 116. Round 4, pick 135. We're going back to the defensive line because we need a lot of help there. J.J. Pegas from Ole Miss. Here's the thing with J.J. He's one athletic son of a gun. Kind of reminds you like Wilkins in some way. He's so athletic. When Ole Miss last year got to 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, they lined him up at running back and handed him the ball, and he converted the 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. You think the Dolphins could use someone like that who plays defensive tackle, but in a pinch, you can put him out there in a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, hand him the ball, and just let him plow his way, behind this offensive line of Miami and get that first down. But 6'2", 309, he can play end, he can play tackle. What the Dolphins need, more bodies on the defensive line. So I have him round 4, pick 135. Round 5, pick 150. Tight end out of Iowa. Anytime you see tight end out of Iowa, it's worth a shot. Luke Lachey. Now look, here's the deal. Iowa has sent 1 million tight ends to the NFL in recent years, and they're all superstars. Luke Lachey isn't of that caliber, but the fact he's coming from Iowa in round 5, I'm taking a chance because they know how to develop tight ends. And yeah, he's not going to come in and start year 1. He's not going to he might have him come in and be a tight end 2 in year 1. But next year, he'll probably be your tight end 2. And if Miami does move on from Jonnu Smith, all depending on how he develops, he could be a tight end 1. Who knows? But yeah, Luke Lachey, tight end, Iowa, round 5. Also round 5, pick 155, just a few picks later. Johnny Cornelius, offensive tackle, Oregon. Again, call me crazy. Larry Borum doesn't give me a lot of confidence as a backup swing tackle. Let's bring in a young guy. Probably won't unseat him this year, but let's get him in the pipeline, get him in the weight room. Let's work on him. And maybe next year, this time, he is your backup swing tackle, Cornelius out of Oregon. And then with the 3 picks in round 7, I won't spend a lot of time here. Running back, Donovan Edwards out of Michigan. He's a Michigan guy. Ross loves that. But mainly, he's just, he's not the fastest. He's not the biggest. Just a guy who sort of can get tough yards, find a little crease. And it's just another body in the running back room. And once again, we're in round 7. You're taking BPA, best player available. Round 7, pick 231. We're taking edge rusher RJ Oben. He had a lot of hype coming out of high school and such. Never really lived up to it in college. You're drafting traits here. Maybe you can coach him up, and maybe someone can get that talent out of him. So RJ Oben, round 7, pick 231. And with the last pick, we're going another defensive tackle. Again, it's a huge need. Yaha Black out of Iowa. Again, huge size. You're drafting traits here. Huge wingspan. Just didn't have, the production in Iowa that you'd hope from someone his size. But that's what we're going there. So that's my mock draft 2.0. We'll drop on the site Monday morning, but just giving you guys a sneak peek, especially if you're listening Sunday evening. All right, before we get to a couple of the topics to end the show, a quick shout out to everyone listening at finheaven.com. Everyone go to finheaven.com, largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also, a shout out to our friends at the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page, run by the great and talented Carlos Hernandez. If you're on Facebook, please be sure you are part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, please be sure to subscribe, whether it's Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podbean, Podchaser, iHeartRadio, Audible, or one of the other 200 or so platforms we're on, YouTube as well. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're going to have shows pretty much every day leading up to the draft. Draft night, we're going to have live coverage on YouTube. We'll have post podcasts after each night. We got you covered. Don't want to miss it, so subscribe. Okay, first off, there's a rumor out there. Hard Knocks. Miami might be on Hard Knocks this training camp. The training camp version like they do each and every year, not one of these new Fugazi versions like whatever. It's an unconfirmed rumor, so take it for what it's worth. But I see a lot of Dolphins fans like really mad about this. Guys, don't be drama queens. Don't be little bitches about this. Who cares? It's not that big a deal. I see fans flipping out on social media, fans flipping out online about why. And the one answer, it's a distraction. It's a distraction. No, it's not. We just did it 2 years ago in season. During the regular season, it was not a distraction. It did not cause the team to lose any games. Okay, you want a distraction? Talk about your nut job wide receiver Tyreek Hill and all the bullshit he does. That's a real distraction. Having HBO cameras film practice and do a couple boring interviews after practice is not a distraction. It's just nothing. And, you know, it's really turned into nothing. Honestly, the last time they were on, which is a couple years ago in season, they spent half of one episode talking to the grounds crew and how they grow and water grass. Fucking grass, okay? That was half of one episode. You're telling me this is a distraction. Anyone upset by this rumor is just a drama queen into fake outrage. And as a fan, why wouldn't you want to see behind the scenes aspects of your favorite team during training camp? It doesn't affect your life any. And newsflash, it doesn't affect the team's life any. All these players have cell phones. They're putting stuff up on Instagram and TikTok. They're shooting content left and right. They all have a podcast, it seems like. So if you think this is a distraction over the stuff they do on their own, you just haven't been paying attention, folks. This is not a distraction. It's literally no big deal. It's just, as a fan, you know, it's access you don't typically get to see or get with some of this stuff. But even what they show on Hard Knocks now, remember two things. The team, in this case, it would be the Dolphins, has veto power. They get first watch of every episode. So if there's something they don't want out there, they tell them, take this out, take that out, and they have to oblige. That's number one. Number two, the show's kind of boring. It's, you know, when it first came out, like late 90s, early 2000s, it was kind of cutting edge. It was kind of exciting. Now it's boring. Hell, it got so boring. They don't even like to show when the general manager or head coach cuts players anymore. They used to show like pretty much every player who was get cut. And it was like excruciating to watch. It was great TV at least. Now they might show it like one guy and that they won't even show the moment. They'll show the moment after he's already been told he's cut, just talking to the head coach saying, stick with it. If you need a recommendation, I'll give. It's like boring TV, so it's not a distraction. And I think Dolphins fans are just, once again, up in their feelings about something that is meaningless. If they do Hard Knocks, I could care less, and it's not going to cause any disruption at all. Last topic is, I also have another article I'm going to drop on Monday about if the Dolphins should take a quarterback in this draft. And we've spoken about this a little on this podcast. But again, as we get closer and more information, I've done more research on some of these guys. Here's where I am on this. You know, the old adage that you should take a quarterback in every draft is true. It's true. It's the most important position on any NFL team. And you should be constantly investing in it. And when you have 10 picks in the draft, like Miami does, you can make a case. Look, one of these picks, around 4, you got 2. Around 5, you got 2. Around 3, pick 98. That's kind of late in round 3. Technically, you start around 4. You know, you can. It's not going to kill you to use one of these picks on a quarterback and just, you know, see what happens. And if they do that, Miami, I have no problem with it. I'm not going to be like up in arms. But I'm looking at this quarterback class. And I got to be honest, it's really not that inspiring. Let's go through some of the names. Obviously, Cam Ward will be gone. I think that Shedeur Sanders will be gone. And if he's not, Miami's not taking him at 13. Same with Jackson Dart. Even if he's not gone by 13, Miami's not taking him. So let's move on to the second group. And this is no special order because I honestly have no idea where these guys are going to go. Some people are high on some guys and low on others and vice versa. So Tyler Show, I believe it's pronounced, or Schuff, out of Louisville, has gotten a lot of hype recently. I've seen him go like the first, second pick in round 2. If Cleveland does not take a quarterback in round 1, they might take him with their first pick in round 2. I've seen his name go there. 25-year-old at Louisville this past year. I know he transferred previously. The age doesn't even scare me, 25, because nowadays we see quarterbacks play to their 40s. I mean, who cares that they're 25? And he's gotten a lot of hype of late. I'm just not a big fan. He's a big boy. He's a tall kid, big guy. I just pretty much he had one great year in college and great, maybe just good if we're being honest. I'm just not into him. I don't know if he's an NFL starter. And if I'm taking a kid with either pick 48 or pick 98, which you're going to have to spend to get this kid, because he ain't falling around 4. I know there's a mock draft out there where they had him going around 4. He ain't falling around 4. I ain't into it. I don't think he's someone who's going to be a starter in this league, in my opinion. So I would not touch him. Now, Kyle McCord is the girl with the curl that all Dolphins fans love. Here's the deal. No one knows Kyle McCord better than me. Why? Because I'm a Syracuse football season ticket holder. I watched every snap of every game he played this year. And I did watch him a little bit last year with Ohio State because I bet a lot of Ohio State games and won money. So I know Kyle McCord. And Kyle McCord, to me, again, if Miami took him, would I be mad? No, not at all. But he's a nice player, but he's not an NFL starter. And if we're going to take a guy at, let's say pick 98 or 116 for Kyle McCord, or maybe 135 if he falls, he's a career NFL backup. That's his ceiling. He's not a guy that's going to be a long-term starter. So if you take him and you think we're going to, coach him up for a year or two, and then when we eventually move on from Tua, he's going to take over and be our quarterback. No, you're going to be very disappointed. He ain't that guy. Now, look, he had a nice season last year with Syracuse. I was there for it, front row seat. I loved it. We stink at football, Syracuse. He took us to 10 wins in a bowl and a Holiday Bowl win. I loved every minute of it, and I love the kid. And if he goes to Miami, great. But just understand, you're drafting him to be no more than a quarterback 2 on your roster. So, temper your expectations with a Kyle McCord. There's Will Howard and Dylan Gabriel. I do not see either one of these guys as NFL quarterbacks. Will Howard, big kid, strong arm. I don't know if he's got the accuracy to be even a quarterback 2 in the NFL. I'd be very nervous with that. And with Gabriel, a little bit undersized, and we're kind of handling that type of situation now. I don't know if I need another undersized quarterback in our quarterback room. Quinn Ewers is a little bit of a wild card in that the talent's there. You can throw a nice long ball. His accuracy on the short passes is you don't love. But, his 2022 and 2023 seasons, you would have thought this kid would be like a top 10 pick. This past year, he took a little bit of a step back. He's not bad, but again, kind of like a Kyle McCord. I don't know if he's a long-term starter in the NFL. I think he's more of a little bit of a project. He's going to have to sit for a year, maybe like a year and a half before he probably sees the field. And his ceiling might just be a quarterback 2. I do think there's, a chance Quinn Ewers could be a quarterback 1 in this league with McCord. I don't see that. But again, it's a slim chance with Quinn Ewers. Slim. Again, when we're talking pick like 114, 116 or like 135, I wouldn't be pissed, but I wouldn't do it. And here's why I wouldn't do it. Because, look, once again, you're the smart people listening to this podcast. This isn't hating, just stating, and this is also the reality. Tua Tagovailoa, again, unless he turns into Kenny Stabler overnight, he's got this year, he's got next year, then they're moving on. Okay, because the contract, he just has never lived up to the 5th overall pick of the draft. He's a good player. He's not a great player. He misses way too many games, and now he's tying up too much of their cap. Unless he, stays healthy for 2 straight years and performs at a much higher level than we've seen thus far, which is always possible, I guess. They're getting ready to move on from. In next year's draft class in 2026 is loaded at quarterback. You got the Penn State kid, you got the LSU kid, you got the Tennessee kid. You might have Arch Manning, who knows? Like there's 4 or 5 first-round talents there to where if the Dolphins want a long-term number 1 replacement quarterback to get on their roster and start to groom, 2026 is where you're going to find that, not 2025. So that's why when it comes to McCord and Howard and Ewers and Show, like they're just guys to me. They're not going to be guys who take over as your number 1 quarterback long term. So I wouldn't take one per se. Now, there's one name I haven't mentioned. And to me, this is the most intriguing name, not just at the quarterback position, but one of the most intriguing names in this entire draft. And that is Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. Roll Tide. Now, look, I know, once again, there's probably a segment of you listening right now, yelling. If you're in your car, yelling at your radio. If you're listening on your phone, yelling at your phone. If you're listening on an iPad, yelling at your iPad, whatever, saying, we don't want another Alabama quarterback. We just took an Alabama quarterback, and he hasn't lived up to. Folks, number one, that's not fair. Because they went to the same college doesn't mean diddly poo. Okay, that's number one. Number two, they're not even close to being the same type of player. Tua is a lean, small guy. He doesn't have his arm's strong enough, but we all know it's not the strongest arm in the league. And not the most athletic kid. Jalen Milroe, is like a running back who's got a cannon of an arm with a ton of velocity on his passes. So they're not even close to being the same type of player. So it's not. So just don't get caught up on, well, he went to Alabama too. Who cares? Who cares? It means nothing in the big picture. But what intrigues me about Milroe is he a polished quarterback who can come in and play right away? No. But could he be Jalen Hurts 2.0? Oh, give me a hell yeah, he could. Now, that doesn't mean he will be Jalen Hurts. I'm saying he could be Jalen Hurts. And the potential is there. And the thing about Milroe is this. We've seen in this league that, as the league constantly evolves, quarterbacks who can make plays with their legs, like Hurts, like Josh Allen, like Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes to a lesser extent, guys who can get out of the pocket and get those hidden yards, guys that can get out of the pocket and be a threat running the football, just open up an offense to a whole new level. And Hurts is essentially a running back who can throw it some. Now, is he the best thrower? No, but he's also not the worst either. The way some people talk about him, it's not fair. But Hurts, he is a horse to try to tackle. He gets out of the pocket and, he's like Josh Allen in some ways where it's going to be tough to bring him down. And that's number one. Number two, with his arm, again, he throws with a lot of strength and a lot of velocity on his passes, which if you're the Dolphins and you might have to play a playoff game in Buffalo or even late in the year, a huge game in Buffalo, in Pittsburgh, in Baltimore, Cleveland, New York, New England, Kansas City, where it's cold, it's wet, it's rainy, it's windy. You need a quarterback who can throw with velocity, whose passes are going to cut through the wind and get through to the receivers. And that's what Jalen Hurts has. Again, Milroe has. He is Jalen Hurts 2.0. And it's a little bit of a boomer bust. You could take him, and he might be a bust and never live up to any of this. But that's the risk you take in the draft. But if you hit on the boom, and you surround him like Philadelphia's done with Hurts, give him a nice little running game, give him an offensive line, give him some wide receivers who can make plays, this kid can win in this league. Now, it ain't going to be year one. It might even be year two. But I think he has the most upside outside of Ward and Sanders, who I think are going to go top 10, obviously. Those guys are going to get on the field probably right away, too. And they're going to be fine. But out of all the rest, the Quinn Ewers, Will Howards, Gabriel, McCord, Shaw, Dart, I'd rather have Milroe. And he's honestly the only quarterback I want in this entire draft class. Because, again, if you have some patience, and this is why you pay Darrell Bevel all that money, you get a kid like this and say, you just coach him up. He's your, he's your little pet project. Coach him up. You might have something here in a year or so. And I'd be willing to take a risk on that. Now, where do you take them? Dolphins have picked 48. They have picked 98. Pick 48 is probably a little too high. And then you also factor in all the holes they have at, offensive line, safety, corner. Probably don't want to take a quarterback a 4-day because you need someone else who can probably come in and start right away to help you this year. But with pick 98, with 2 picks in round 4 and 2 picks in round 5, if you can make a package, if he's not gone by, middle round 2, or if he's there late round 2, or maybe he falls to the top of round 3, I'm probably looking to package a few of these picks and go, let's go up and get this kid. Because again, I think there's a lot of potential there for him to be a long-term starting quarterback in this league if you have patience. And I think the Dolphins can strongly consider this. Now, do I think they'll do it? Probably not. But I would. Because, again, I've been following this league for a long time. This ain't my first NFL draft. I've been, watching players break. I just think there's something there with this kid. He's got the it quality that the rest of them don't have. And, again, it's going to take – got to have patience. He's not ready year 1. But if you put him – if you have a quarterback room of Tua, Zach Wilson, and Jalen Milroe, that's not too bad. And I think, between Zach Wilson and Milroe, God forbid they have to play. With our quarterback, somebody's going to have to play at some point. Let's see how it goes. But he's the only guy I see any upside with outside of Ward and Sanders. So, yeah, that's where I am on the quarterbacks. And we'll see what Miami does. We'll see. I don't expect – what they'll probably do, and it'll really annoy me, is they'll probably wait till like round 5. Take a flyer on a quarterback, like one of the guys I mentioned, like Howard or Gabriel, who I'm not even a big fan of, and they're just never going to ever see the field, and they'll never really develop. So that's why if you're going to take one, I'd rather almost take a swing at someone like Milroe. Maybe you trade up in round 3 if he's still there. Let's take a shot. You still have so many picks that you're going to be able to fill out the rest of your roster. And plus, again, as I said in the show, we're in a soft rebuild anyways. We're not going to win anything this year. They're going to win games, but they're not going to win like the AFC East or a playoff game. This is the year to make a swing at like this. Again, it's a small swing. It's like a check swing. It's not like you're trading up in round 1, you're trading up in round 2. You're trading like picks in around like 4 and 5 with pick 98 here to maybe get one in the middle of round 3. It's a mitigated swing here. Let's not go nuts. So that's what I would do, but we'll see. That's all for today's show. Thank you all for listening. As always, we really do appreciate your support. Be sure to check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com, as we have a bunch of new articles up from some of our great writers. I also brought on 2 new writers this weekend, so look for content from them real soon. Great variety of opinions, which we like here at DolphinsTalk.com. Also, social media. I'm on all the social media platforms. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube, at Dolphins Talk. Just go there, search for Dolphins Talk. You'll find me. Please be sure to follow me there. Again, on YouTube, smash that like button. And again, patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. That interactive mock draft is going to be so much fun on Friday night, April 18th. Sign up. It's only $3 a month to sign up. And trust me, it'll be the best $3 you ever spent if you're a fan of the Dolphins. We give you so much content. As soon as I'm done with this show, I'm going to record a show for Dolphins Talk Extra talking about a variety of topics. So you're going to want to check that out over there. But once you sign up for your $3 a month and you're locked in, send us a message. All the information's up on our Patreon page that you want to be a part of the interactive mock draft. We're all going to get on a Zoom session kind of like this. We'll all have a little square, look like the Brady Bunch with all of us on together. And when it comes, we're all going to get a handful of teams and we're just going to have fun and have a mock draft, see how it goes, have some laughs, have some fun. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. I'll be back with a new show Monday night with Tom Ernest. So be on the lookout for that. And I got more shows lined up later this week, so be prepared for that. Everyone have a great Sunday night. Everyone have a great Monday, great start to your week. We'll talk to you again after a while. And folks, don't forget, we still must put an end to highway profanity. Hey guys, Mike here from DolphinsTalk.com. Just want to thank you for watching this video today. Please be sure to like and subscribe to this video. And also just thank you in general. I know you have a lot of other podcast options out there these days, whether it's with the Miami Dolphins or about the Miami Dolphins, and with non-Miami Dolphins podcast stuff like true crime, politics, NBA, Major League Baseball. We do appreciate the support you guys provide us, and we do thank you for watching our content. We appreciate it more than you'll ever know. So thank you so much. Just want to say thank you. And also, don't forget to sign up for our Patreon service. Go to patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. And for just $3 a month, you will get more Miami Dolphins coverage and shows. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. Thank you again, and everyone have a great day.